Very good morning to all of you. Welcome to another YouTube live session with me, Surjit Kakkar. Today is Sunday, 22nd of October, and wishing you all a very happy Diwali. So today's session is a TradingView tutorial. I did a TradingView tutorial some time back, but what happens is, the platform, it has been updated. So the way the representation of some of those tools were when I did the previous session and the way they look as of today, there's a little small variation where at times people they do get confused. So I thought, why not to do a tutorial again where we can look into how to do the setup for TradingView. And when we are talking about the setup, we are doing the setup which is more in sync with somebody who is doing demand and supply analysis. Because what we'll be doing is we'll be tweaking some of the tools to make them much more useful for us so that we can easily do our demand and supply analysis. So that is what I'll be covering today. And probably I'll also try to do the same session in Hindi maybe the next week. But yesterday we'll understand how to do the setup for TradingView. So let's get started with this. Let me first remove everything which we'll add again. Let me remove some of these things. Let's also remove this. And I guess that's good enough. Perfect. So the first thing is on TradingView, you can open a free account. Now, most of the things which I'm showing you, I'll probably say 99% of the things which I'll be showing you today, everything is available on a free account. It's not that you need to have a paid account to use all these tools. I'll first talk about everything which is available for free, even on a free account. And after that, probably there's just one or two things which requires an upgraded paid account. Otherwise, as a demand and supply analysis, if you want to do the complete analysis, even using a free account, it is absolutely possible. And yes, before I move forward, I would also like to add that make sure if you're liking these videos, do let me know. You can put it in the comments. You can hit the thumbs up button. You can like the videos. You can let me know if there is any topic you want me to do in the future. I can also look into it. So do give me your feedback by your comments, by liking the videos. And yes, if you're liking these, make sure you're also subscribed to my channel, because whenever I do a video, you will get notified, right? And then you will be able to join in, and you can join in live, because I generally prefer to do most of the sessions as live sessions versus uploading some videos which are pre-recorded. Anyways, so let's get started. So the first thing which I'll talk about is, the tools which we require for demand and supply analysis. So just give me 1 second. Let me bring this up. Just a minute. So what I'll do is I'll just bring up my drawing tools, and then we'll talk about what all tools do we need, and then how we can tweak some of these tools on TradingView to help us with all those features so that it's easier for us to do the demand and supply analysis on TradingView. All right, so let's get started. So see, the first thing is, when we are doing demand and supply analysis, we need a tool using which we can draw demand and supply areas, right? That is our very first requirement, tool to draw our demand zones and our supply zones, right? So that is the first thing we'll be talking about, what tool we can use to draw demand areas and supply areas. The second thing we also need is that when we do the curve analysis, we draw the demand zones, we draw the supply zones, but then we have to make some divisions, right? So we need a tool which can help us with the curve analysis. And the third thing which we also require is a tool which can help us identify our entry points, our stop losses, also help us understand where is my 1:1, 2:1s, 3:1s. I mean, we can do it mathematically, but if you can see it on the chart, process becomes easier, process becomes even faster, right? So we also need something for our ACTS, which we call as stop loss, entry, target, and position size. Along with that, we will also be talking about some settings, right? So these are the primary three things we'll be looking into, but not just these three, we'll also be talking about more things. Now, the first thing is, whenever we are doing the analysis, we need to use charts. Now, if you look at TradingView, when you open it for the very first time, on the top you will see it will be showing you just one single time frame, and that would be the time frame you're already on. So how do I get all these time frames on the top? So the way to do that is, can you see here you have a down arrow? Once you click on it, you will see that the time frames which are available to you are listed. Now the time frames which you want here on the top as shortcut, all you need to do is just click the star button in front of it. So can you see you have a star in front of it? Like example, as of now, I can show you we have 5 minutes, 15 minutes, hourly chart, daily chart, weekly chart, and monthly chart. Now let's assume I'm a person who also uses 4 hours on regular basis. So what I can do is I can click on this. Can you see you get the option add to favorite? And now you can see we have the 4 hour chart here on the top. Once I again click on it, can you see now this is gone? So what I'll do is I'll remove all of these just to show you again. So this is how it will be by default, whatever time frame you're on. As of now on a 15 minutes chart, that's the reason it only shows me 15 minutes. If I change this to a 60-minute chart, you will see that on the top it will only show me the time frame I'm currently on, which is an hourly chart. So to have all the time frames which you use on regular basis listed here on the top, like I said, all you need to do is just click here and just start add to favorite, clicking on that add to favorite star in front of that time frame. Example, I use a 5-minute chart very frequently. I use 15 minutes. I use hourly. After that, I use daily. Now can you see, as and when I'm adding these, they are getting added here on the top. So now I have 5 minutes, 15 minutes, hourly, daily. I can add weekly, and I can also add the monthly chart. So now it's easier for me to switch my time frames here on the top. I can just click on whichever time frame I want to go to. So if I click on 5, I'm on a 5-minute chart. I click on 1H, I'm on the 60-minute chart. I click on D, I'm on the daily chart. Another way to do this is also that you can start typing on your keyboard. Example, if I want to go to, let's say, a 10-minute chart. So what I'm doing is I'm just clicking the 1 and 0 key on the keyboard. So can you see, as soon as you do that, you get that option, and now I press enter. I'm on a 10-minute chart. If I want to go to, let's say, 30 minutes, I'll type 30 on the keyboard, and now you can see I can go to the 30 minutes chart. Now, if you want to go to the daily, you'll have to first type 1, D, and that's your daily chart. If I want to go to the weekly chart, 1, W, and now I can go to the weekly chart. So you can also use shortcuts, because I know a lot of people, they prefer using shortcuts. So if you prefer using shortcuts, the way you can change your time frame is just by typing it on the keyboard. When you're changing your time frames, the very first character which you're pressing on the keyboard has to be a number, right? So that is the reason for daily you can't straight away do D. It has to be 1D, right? For weekly you can't do W. It has to be 1W. For monthly you can't do M. You have to do 1M, right? Now you're on the monthly chart. Now let's say I want a quarterly chart, so that would be 3M, which means 3 months. And now you can see I'm on a quarterly chart. If I want a yearly chart, I can do 1Y, which is okay. So they don't give you the yearly chart. That is how it looks like, maybe in the shortcut, but yes, I think you do have it here. In fact, what I can do is 12 months here. If I want an yearly chart, I can do 12M, which now would be an yearly chart, right? So that is how you can have your time frame. So let's go back to, let's say, 15. So now that you understand how you can change your time frames by having it on the top, that is one way. You can favorite all the time frames which you use most frequently. You'll get it on the top. If you like using shortcuts, now you also understand how you can do it using the keyboard. Now, the second thing we also require is the tools which we will be using very frequently. And like I said, I'll be talking about 3 tools which we use very frequently. One is to draw your demand areas and supply areas. The second one is for your SETS, which is your stop loss, entry, target, and position size. The third one is for your curve analysis, where we need 3 divisions. So here on the left hand side, you will see you have this toolbar which has all the tools which are available. Now, the very first thing which I would recommend everyone to do is make sure you click on this magnet icon. So this is called as the magnet tool. Now, what does the magnet tool does? Just to show you an example, let's take this candle as an example, right? So what I'm doing is I'm taking this candle as an example. Now, whenever you talk about a candle, every candle has 4 anchor points. What are those 4 anchor points? Open, high, low, and close, right? Those are the 4 anchor points. Like in this example, this is my high, right? That's the anchor point. This is my low. Because it is a red color candle, which means we opened above and we closed below. So these are my 4 anchor points, which is my open, high, low, and close. So when you're using the magnet tool, what happens is that whatever tool you're using, like I'll just show you as an example with few of these tools. These tools will get anchored to to the price point closest to your mouse pointer. So now what do I mean by that? Let me now show you as an example. So I'll just show you as an example. So can you see, as of now I'm close to the low. As I start moving up, can you see now my mouse pointer is closer to the closing price, and can you see it immediately snapped to that anchor point, which is my closing price. So now that closing price is acting like a magnet. As in, when I'm going closer to it, can you see the closing price attracts that tool, and the tool snaps exactly to that closing price. If I move above, can you see, as soon as I'll get closer to the open price, it will get attracted by that opening price. That's the reason it is called as the magnet tool, and you will see it will stick itself to that opening price. And now when I start pushing it higher, now you will see that it immediately snapped to the high price. Why? Because my mouse pointer was closer to it. So what is the advantage of having this activated? The advantage of selecting this tool is that when you're drawing your zones, you get the exact price, right? You get the exact low, the exact close, the exact open, or the exact high. Now, if I don't have this enabled, what can happen is when you're trying to draw your tools, right? It can be any tool. Now you're placing it manually. So when you're placing it manually, if you go 1 pixel below, 1 pixel above, the values will change, right? So which is where you might not get the exact value. So maybe, I put it somewhere around here. Now, can you see, even though it looks like maybe I have marked the exact high, but I might be maybe 1 or 2 pixels below that, due to which I might not be getting the exact high price. So that is the reason it's always better to have this enabled, so that whatever tool you're using, all those tools will snap to the exact price point, which is either the open, high, low, or close, right? Which gives you the exact price from that specific candle. Now, if I move ahead, now you will see that it will start snapping. Just give me a second. Okay, what happened? I think it got stuck. So just give me a minute. All right, perfect. So let's select it again. Give me a second. Perfect. And now can you see what happens is, now if I go to the next candle, now it starts snapping to the open, high, low, close of the next candle. So as if now it is to the low, now it is to the open, now it is to the close, and now it snaps to the high. So that is how it is. Whatever candle you would be pointing at, and on that specific candle, whichever anchor point you're closer to, the tool gets attracted to that price point. And this tool is definitely very helpful because it gives you the exact highs, open, lows, and close. Now I can also see that I have some questions coming up, so I'll definitely look into these questions at the end of the session. But let's focus on the tools which we have as of now. But I'll look into all these questions before we close the session. So that is the magnet tool. Very, very important. Always make sure this is enabled for you. Now coming back to the tools which we'll be using. Now again, the way we can favorite the time frames which we use, similarly we can also favorite the tools which we use very, very frequently. Like example, the tool which we use to draw the demand areas and supply areas, that is called as the price range tool, and that tool is available here, right? So you can see price range. If I remove it from the favorites, you will see it will no longer be here in the bottom floating toolbar. But we use it very frequently, so that's the reason this one should be in your favorite list. So the tools which you should put in your favorite list, one is your price range. This will help you with drawing the demand and supply areas. The long position, the short position, this will help you in calculating your position size. So that is also something which is very important, should be enabled. So here you can see this is the long position tool, this is the short position tool. We also have two more tools which is called as trend-based Fibonacci extension, which is available, I guess, here. Trend-based Fibonacci extension, and the second one is Fib retracement. So these are the 5 tools which we require. Again, I'll show you where these tools are. So 2 tools from this tab, which is your Fib retracement and trend-based Fibonacci extension, and you have 3 tools from this tab, which is long position, short position, and price range. Now, how to get this? What you need to do is, when you are, just give me a second. When you are here in the toolbar, just press the left mouse button for a few seconds and you will see this pop up, and then you can just click on the star and you can have all these tools in your uh, favorite tool list. Now example, if I add another tool here, can you see now it is next to it? If I add the other one, can you see again it's next to it? So wherever you keep starring, it just keeps adding to this floating toolbar. Once you unstar it, it automatically removes from there. So that is how you can have your favorite tools. And yes, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tools which we need to do the complete demand and supply analysis, right? So make sure, again, I'll show you quickly. The two tools are Fibonacci retracement and trend-based Fibonacci extension from this tab. And the three tools from this tab is long position, short position, and price range. So yes, the price range tool is the tool which we use to draw our demand areas and supply areas. And yes, one thing which I'll add is that there are some indicators which I have created for free. Now, how can you use those free indicators for your demand and supply analysis? All you need to do is on the top, you have the indicator list. Click on this, right? So click on this. Just give me a second. Or it seems like it's working slow today. I don't know why. Probably if I refresh it, it might fix itself. So just give me a few more seconds. Let me just try to refresh this and hopefully it will fix itself. Otherwise, it can be pretty challenging. So just give me a few more seconds. All right. So, okay, by the time it's refreshing, let me read the question. So the very first question is from Ravi. He says, one quick request. We are not subscribed to the TradingView and requesting you to show us the options available for free users. So Ravi, as of now, whatever I'm showing, everything is available for free users, right? So if I'm showing you something which is only available for people who have paid subscriptions or they are paid tools, I'll definitely let you know. But as of now, everything which I've shown from the starting till now is available for free users. So don't worry about it. That is what I in fact started with. That first I'll show you everything which is available for available with a free account, and once we are done with that, if I'm adding something in between which is for paid subscriptions, I'll definitely let you know. But yes, but everything which I've shown you from the starting till now is available for free users. The next question is how to buy at wholesale price and sell at a retail price using demand and supply methodology. Rupesh, now this is something which we teach in our courses. So to learn the complete process, which is the demand and supply methodology, you'll have to join our course. I do, at times Sunday sessions where we look into some of the major markets and we mark some of these key demand areas and supply areas on those markets. But we don't go in depth into it because, like I said, those are the things which are covered in our paid courses. So you'll have to join it if you want to learn the complete process. Any stock which is trading at 52 weeks high, do we have supply zone of? All right, guys. So just type yes in the chat box in case, if you can hear me, just type yes in the chat box because, I had some technical issue. All of a sudden, everything went for a toss. So I just want to make sure that the things are up and running. So in case you can hear me, just type yes in the chat box. So let me just check this because I think, my stream got disconnected. I just want to make sure that it's up and running again. So in the chat box, please type yes if you can hear me. All right, so I'll just wait for a few more seconds because I know generally there is a delay. So in case you can hear me, just type yes in the chat box. And okay, I don't see any comments coming up. I just want to check if things are working. Right. So it seems like today technology is not being friendly with me. My stream got disconnected and I'm not sure whether the chat is working now or not. And I don't even know whether you people can hear me. So let me see what can I do about it. Just give me a second. All right. Just give me a second. Let me see. Let me try to find a fix. All right, perfect. So one thing is, yes, I can now see your chat, but I don't see it on my stream. But I'm seeing it in another way. I'm trying to fix the issue. Perfect. So at least I would be able to read your chat. But at my end, I definitely have some challenges, but not a problem. At least I know things are running fine, and you people can hear me. Great. So let's continue. So yes, like I was saying that we would only be, I will be discussing the tools. Majority of them are definitely available with the free account. If something is only available with the paid account, I'll definitely let you know. Now, before we move forward, like I said, with demand and supply, I have created some custom indicators which can help you identify your areas of demand and supply. Now, there are two indicators which are available for free. What are those indicators? For that, you just need to click on the indicator tab here on the top. The shortcut key is the backslash. So can you see? You have this as the shortcut key. It is also mentioned just right next to it. So if you like using shortcut, you can just press the backslash on the keyboard and you'll get this. Otherwise, on the top, just click on this indicator icon. Once you click on this, you get this search bar and also the list of all the indicators available on TradingView. Search by my name, which is Surjit Kakkar. And once you do that, you will see that we have boring candle and explosive move indicator. Right now, boring candle has been listed twice. It's just that, once we add an indicator, it cannot be deleted. So this one I uploaded by mistake, and this cannot be removed now. So the one which you are supposed to use is the one with the maximum number of likes, which is 988. So click on this one and click on the explosive move indicator as well. Now, these two indicators are available publicly for free. Anyone can use it. You don't need to pay anything for it, right? So again, I'm showing you everything which is as of now available for free. And now you will start seeing that it starts identifying your explosive move. It starts identifying your basing candles. So if you like to use these indicators to identify your areas of demand and supply, that is how you apply these indicators to your charts. All you need to do is just click on the indicator list, search by my name, which is Surjit Kakkar, and you will be able to find these two indicators, which is the boring candle indicator and the explosive move indicator. Now, once you have these applied to your charts, and now you want to mark your demand areas and supply areas, let's imagine for a minute. Okay, let's also understand first how to change scripts. Now, as of now, I'm on ACC. If you want to change your script, you can do two things. Here on the top, you can start typing the script you want. Let's say you want Maruti, Maruti, and now you can see here it is on the top. You click on this, and now you have the chart for Maruti. The other way you can do is you can start typing it on your keyboard. Now let's take an example. You want ICICI, so just press I on the keyboard, and can you see this pop-up will come, and just continuing typing ICICI. You can also select stocks, futures, forex, right, whatever you're trading. So that, because can you see if I do all, then it will show me a lot of things. I just want to see the stocks, I can do that. Here I can also select I only want from the NSE exchange, and that is what I've selected because they have a lot of exchanges listed. And now I can see ICICI Bank. I click on this, and now I have the ICICI Bank chart. So that is how it can be done. For changing your time frames, for changing the scripts, you can type here, or you can just start typing on the keyboard. Let's take, or you can even create your watch list. So here, can you see on the right hand side, you can create your watch list. You can add whatever scripts you want, and then you can also change your scripts from here as well. So there are a few different ways to do it from your watch list by typing the name of the script, or by typing the name of the script here, right? So these are the few ways how you can do it. Now, once you have you have these charts, and let's assume that now you want to mark a zone. So like I said, we will be using a tool which is called as the price range tool, and I've already told you how to get this price range tool. It is listed in this tab. You just have to click on the favorite icon so that you get it in that floating toolbar. You can keep this floating toolbar wherever you wish to, right? I generally prefer to keep it here at the bottom. Now, to draw the zone, let's imagine this is what I want to mark as a drop, base drop. So the first thing I need to know is that where I'll be starting with the zone and where I'll be ending with the zone. So let's assume I want to start with the lowest low and the highest high. That is where I want to end to mark my zone. So what I'll do is I'll select this tool. And like I said, this tool gets, because now we have the magnet activated, so it will get anchored to one of the 4 price points, which is the open, high, low, close. So again, I'm facing some challenges. So what I'll do is I'll click, because this is the lowest low, that is what I can see. So I'll click on this, and then I'll take my mouse to this candle, which has the highest. I'll click on this, and now can you see I have that supply zone. So one thing which can happen is that when you initially use this tool, this might be disabled. So what is going to happen is you might just get this small little zone here, or that price range here. Now, to extend it to the right, what you need to do is you need to double click on it, and there is an option which says extend right. So once you click on this, then whatever price range you're drawing, it will always get extended to the right. Right now, let's take an example. I want to draw a demand area. So let's say I want to draw a demand area right here. So again, what I'll do, I first need to know where will be my zone starting from and where my zone will be ending. So let's assume I want to start my zone from here and end my zone at here. So again, I'll select the price range tool. I'll click where my zone has to start from. After clicking there, I'll bring it down to where the zone should be ending. And can you see the advantage of having that magnet activated? It by default gets attracted to that low price. And now I can click on this, and now I have this tool. But now the problem is, can you see both of them are coming in the same color? Just give me a second. Let's zoom out a little bit. So I don't know, there's something wrong with my PC today. I don't know why it's working very, very slow. So I hope it doesn't, again, disconnects me from the live stream, because that is what happened with me just some time ago. I don't want that to happen again. All right, now can you see you have these 2 zones drawn? Now, how can I change the color? One way is you can select this, and here you have your complete color palette. You can choose whatever color you wish to. Now, example, I want this in green. I can, change this to green. Let's say I like using some other color. I can again select this. I can change the color to maybe even blue. So that is one way. The other way is you can create your templates. Now, what do we mean by templates? So like as of now, I have it in green color. So what I can do is I can save it as some name. So I have saved green color as DZ, right? DZ stands for demand zone. And similarly, I have saved one template as SZ, which is in red color. So once I select this, and if I change this template to SZ now, you will see it will change to red. If I change this to DZ, it will change to green, because those are the colors which I saved for these 2 templates. So now let's say if I now change this to blue, and I save it as another template, right? So I'll just show you how these templates can be saved. Save drawing as template, and let me save it as just zone, right? So now what you will see is that I have 3 options. So if I select SZ, it will be red in color because I saved it in red. If I select DZ, it will be green in color. But if I now select zone, it will be blue in color, right? So that is how you can save as many templates as you wish to. And even when you're drawing it, right? So even when you're drawing it, first thing you can do is you can click on this, right? Now you have these options available. You can select, I'm using it to draw a demand area. So now by default, when you're drawing it, it will be green in color, right? Now, if I draw another zone, that will also come in green color because currently I have selected green, right? I'll just show you. Just give me a second. All right. So today, definitely my computer is giving me some issues. I hope, I don't get disconnected again. Let's wait for a few more seconds. Okay. Let's remove everything. Perfect. Now let's do it again. Can you see I selected this? I want to draw a demand zone. So I'll select DZ. This will come in green color. I now want to draw a supply zone, right? Let's say I want to draw a supply zone right here. So again, I'll select this, and this time I'll say I want to draw a supply zone. And this time when I draw it, it will be in red color because I've already selected the supply zone template. If I just want to draw a zone, I can again select that. I just want to draw a zone, which for me would be blue in color. And that is how you can save your templates, which makes it easy for you to have the correct colors while you're drawing your areas of demand and supply. Now, another thing which you can also do is, can you see when you have all these templates, if you are not interested now, zone I just added, otherwise I never use it. So I can just click on the cross next to it. And now I only have my demand zone and the supply zone template. And what is going to happen is now whenever I click here, I will get these two options. And using the appropriate option, I can always select the correct color and I can draw my zones. So that basically covers how to draw your areas of demand and areas of supply by using the price range tool. Right, now let's move on to the next one. So let's imagine, I have drawn my demand areas and supply areas. Now the next thing is, on the higher time frame, we also need to draw our curve, right? So what you can do is you can use this tool, which is called as Fibonacci retracement, to divide it into the curve. So how do I divide it into curve? Example, I'll select this tool. I'll start from here and I'll drag and drop it to this line. And now you can see I have 3 divisions. So now what are the settings for these tools? Let me just show you. I'll click on this. So this is all you need to do. I'll keep these settings here on the screen. You can replicate these settings. You need 0, 0.33, 0.66 and 1. So what does this mean? 0 is your 0%, 1 is your 100%. So if you want to divide 0% to 100% into 3 equal parts, it is going to be 33% and 66%. That is what this 0.33 and 0.66 denotes. So you need to just have 0, 0.33, 0.661. Everything else is disabled. If you need the background color, you can check mark this. If you don't need the background colors, you can remove it. I like to have these background colors. Do you want this to be in reverse, or do you want to be in the correct order? So what do we mean by reverse? So what is happening now is, can you see my red color is on the top, green is at the bottom. If I reverse it, then red will go at the bottom, the green will come on the top. So it's just that whether you want the 0 at the bottom or whether you want 100 at the bottom. So that's the reverse basically implies. Now, do you want to see the prices? These prices, if yes, you can check mark that. If you don't want to see the prices, you can disable it. It doesn't make any difference. It's your preference. Now, if you are seeing these prices, where do you want these price labels? Can you see as if now for me it is on the left? If you want it in the center, the price labels will now be at the center. That is what you can see now. If you want it on the right side, you can shift it to the right side. Let's keep it on the left. Now, even when they are on the left, where do you want them to be placed? Do you want to place them at the middle? Can you see it's middle of that level? If I make it as top, now you will see they have shifted to the top. If you want it at the bottom, you can do that. So it's just the placement of that text. Do you want the text to be in the middle or on the top or on the bottom or to the left or to the center or to the right? So these are the settings. But yes, one important thing which you can do here is, I think it is right here. So when you're drawing these levels, do you want to extend it to the right? Now, can you see if I don't extend to the right, from where I started, it will just end there. So if I again want this to be extended to the right, under this tab, you have this option, extend the lines. And now these lines will be extended to the extreme right. So you can always enable this because it's good for us. Okay, now just give me a second because I told you, today it is giving me some issues. Perfect. So now is extended to the right. Again, how transparent or how opaque you want these colors to be, that is something which can be selected here. So now you can see all the settings for fib retracement. Those are the only settings you need to do. And now to draw this, it's very easy. From wherever you want to start, just click there. Wherever you want to end, just click there. In fact, what I'll do is I'll try to go to a different time frame, because here I was zoomed out a lot. I would like to use where probably I can be a little zoomed in. So let's imagine I want to mark this as my area of supply, and let's say I want to mark this as my area of demand. Now let's, just for the purpose of understanding how to draw the zones, just because I'm marking it as demand and supplies, don't assume these are tradable zones, right? It's only for the purpose of understanding how to use the tools. Now, if I want to divide it into three parts, like I said, we'll select this tool, we'll click here because that is where the supply zone is starting from, and we'll click where the demand zone is starting from. And now we have those divisions in the curve, and that's how you use this tool. And because the settings is set in a way so that it gets extended to the right, you can also see that. Now again, all these tools are for free. You don't need to have a paid account for this. So as of now, everything we have covered are free tools. Now let's move ahead, because we are done with the settings of this one. Okay, so just give me a minute. All right, so the next thing is, let's imagine this is my time frame where probably I'll be planning to take the trade. So what we also do is we would like to see, we always try to give a little bit of wiggle room, right? Our entry is a little bit above the zone. Our stop losses are always just a little bit below the zone. In fact, let me go to a smaller time frame. Right, so let's assume this is a supply area where I would like to go short, right? Let's assume for a minute that's a supply zone where I would like to go short. So let's first change this to supply. Now, how can I draw my tool which can tell me my entry point, my stop loss with a little bit of wiggle room? So this is the tool which you can use. This is called as trend-based Fibonacci extension. And how do you use this tool? After selecting the tool, what you need to do is you need to start again from the entry point, right? So this is where your entry point is. You'll click on that entry point. Then you'll click on the stop loss where your distal line would be. Again, you'll come back to the entry point and you'll click on it, right? So basically it will be 3 clicks. The first click will be at the entry price. That's your first click. The second click will be where your stop loss would be, or in fact, let me use the correct, correct terminologies we use. So the first click will be on the proximal line. The second click will be on the distal line. So that's your second click. And again, the third click will be at the proximal line. So it will be 3 clicks at the proximal, at the distal, again at the proximal. So let me show you again. So let me delete this. So you have to select this tool, right? So first click on the proximal, second click on the distal, and again the third click on the proximal. And now you can see you have your little bit of wiggle room with the entry, with the stop loss. This is your 1:1, this is your 2:1, this is your 3:1, this is your 4:1. Now what are the settings? Here you have the settings. You can simply replicate these settings on your tools. I'll just keep it for a few seconds so that you can note it down. It's minus 1.2, then you have 0.2, then you have 1.6, then you have 3, 4.4, 5.8. Now, what do we mean by all these numbers? In fact, let me just explain to you what this is doing. Give me a second, so that in case you want to make some modifications, you can always make those modifications based on your preferences. Right, so let me help you understand what these numbers are basically. All right, so yes, I am facing some challenges with my PC today. I don't know why. Generally, it doesn't happen. It's very strange, but not a issue. We'll try to manage it somehow. Perfect. So what are these numbers? Like you can see, I'm giving a little bit of wiggle room. Now, what is this wiggle room? I'm giving 0.2% below and 0.2% above, right? So this basically should be my -1 if I want the exact price. But because I want it a little bit above and a little bit below, I'm giving it a wiggle room of 0.2%. So that is the reason I have -1.2. So that gives me a wiggle room for my stop loss. For the entry also, I want wiggle room. Otherwise, if I want my entry exactly at the proximal line, it has to be 0. So since I'm giving it a little bit of wiggle room, I'm giving it as 0.2. Right now, where will be my 1:1s, 2:1s, and 3:1s? Now, based on this, your 1:1 would be 1.6. That's the next number. Your 2:1 would be 3. Your 3:1 would be 4.4. 4:1 would be 5.8. If you want 5:1, 6:1, these are the numbers you can use. Now, if you feel that 0.1%, 0.2% is very big wiggle room, you want to give a smaller wiggle room, then you can do something like this. You can give it minus 1.1. So that's going 1% above, 0.1% above. And then you can give it as 0.1. And now you will have a different set of numbers. Right now here, what we have done is we have reduced the wiggle room, and now your numbers would be 1.3 instead of 1.6, 2.5 instead of 3, and 3.7 instead of 4.4, and 4.9 instead of 5.8. Now, if you want to give a little bit of more wiggle room, you can also do it something like this: minus 1.3, 0.3, and now you can have your numbers if you want to give some extra wiggle room. Right, so now you'll be using 1.9, 3.5, 5.1, 6.7. So that is how these numbers are derived. Now I'll just show you an example. If I change this to 1.1, okay, in fact, let me not do it, because again I'll have to change these settings. But yes, you can always change these numbers based on whether you want lesser wiggle room, you want what I've already done for me as by default, you want more wiggle room. That is how you can set your numbers. Right, so here you have all these numbers. After that, you have to click on reverse. If you will click on background, it will clutter your chart with a lot of colors. I generally don't do this, so I keep my background as disabled. It has to be in reverse. If it is in reverse, you're starting from the proximal, then the distal, then the proximal. If you uncheck reverse, then you'll have to start from the distal, then the proximal, again the distal. Right, so make sure it is in reverse. Then you always start from the proximal, distal, and back to the proximal. If you want to see the prices, yes, I want to see the prices. I keep my prices on the right hand side and on the top of these lines. If you want them in middle, you can put it in middle, but this can be confusing at times. You can't read it. If you put it at the bottom, acceptable. So you'll have to see what is more comfortable for you. I always keep them as above the lines and on the right hand side. Other than this, you don't have to do any settings. Yes, one setting again, because we want this to be extended to the right, always check mark this. If you don't extend it to the right, you will only probably see a very small line, which doesn't help. So you have to check mark this so that it's getting extended to the right, And that is your settings for the trend-based Fibonacci extension, right? So just give me a second. Let's close this. Perfect. So now we are done with the very first tool, which is price range, which will help you draw your demand areas and supply areas. We're done with the second tool, which is trend-based Fibonacci extension, which will help you with that wiggle room for the entry and the stop loss in your 1:1s, 2:1s, 3:1s. We are also done with Fibonacci retracement, which helps you draw your curve. Now, the last one we are left with is the long position and the short position, because we also need to understand what should be my position size. So you can see we have two tools, long and short. So in this case, we are planning a short trade. So you'll select the short position tool. Wherever the entry price is, just click there. And you can see now you have 128.25 exactly there. And that is where I can see my stop loss as of now. I don't want my stop loss to be here. My stop loss is 129.30. So I'll just push it to 129.30. This, you will see that all the details are available on this. And what I'll do is I'll disable the compact mode as of now. So can you see it is showing you that your stop loss is 1 rupee 5 paise. If you're looking at, let's imagine this as your target, then your target is 3 rupees 15 paise. Based on reward to risk ratio, it is a reward to risk ratio of 3 times. And you see if I make it smaller, now it is telling me it's 2.57. So you will also get to know your reward to risk ratio here. What quantity you can do, can you see it's also calculating the quantity that you can do 9,523 shares. Now, how is this quantity getting calculated? It will get calculated based on the settings you have done for this tool. Now, let me show you as an example. It will just take a few more seconds, because I told you, I don't know why my computer is working very slow today, giving me some issues. So can you see here in the inputs, you have the option that how much risk do you want to take per trade. So you can give your account size, you can give your risk. So you can give any numbers, just make sure this number is correct. So I have given that I'm okay with taking a 10,000 rupee risk per trade. So if I'm okay with taking a risk of 10,000 rupees per trade, then my position size based on that is 9,523. If I want to take only a risk of, let's say, 1,000 rupees per trade, or let's say 100 rupees per trade, and I click on OK, and you will see now my position size would be revised. Now it will be based on a 100 rupee risk. So let's wait for a second. Now it's telling me you can only do 95 shares. So this is what you need to do. You'll have to do these settings for how much risk you want to take. So let's bring it back to, okay, now let's see, with 1,000, it is telling me now you can do 952 shares. And with 10,000, now you can do 9,500 to 9,523 shares. So this is how you can even get your position size from the chart itself. Just make sure that your entry point and the stop loss point are at the correct locations. Now, can you see if I'm increasing my stop, my position size is reducing. If I'm reducing my zone, my position size is increasing. So this has to be exactly at your entry price and the stop loss price. It also gives you your calculation for the position size. Wherever the target is, that is where you'll be putting this. It will also give you your reward to risk ratios. Now, if you don't like so much text, you can always change this to compact mode. You will see here we have a mode for this, which is called as compact. That is what I like to keep because I already understand what these numbers are. So this is my stop loss, 1 rupee 5 paise. This is my target, 2 rupee 30 paise. This is my reward to risk ratio, which is 2.48. And this is my quantity, which is 9,523. So initially, yes, you might want to keep it as the regular mode, not the compact mode, because you might not know what these numbers are. But once you're comfortable with this, if you don't like a lot of text on your charts, you can change this to compact mode, which is under styles. Under inputs, it's only your risk which you have to give. Now it can be done in two ways. In INR, which is your rupee value, it can also be done in percentage, but you'll always keep it in the currency value, not the percentage, which is a better way to go about. Right, so that basically covers your short tool. Just the opposite is true for the long tool. So if I draw the long tool just to show you as an example, okay, so it's just taking some time. Perfect. So can you see here also you'll have exactly the same thing. So that's your entry, that's your stop loss. Wherever your target is, you can do that. It will tell you your position size. It will tell you your reward to risk ratios. Right? So exactly the opposite of what we were doing in this short tool. So that is something now which takes care of all the tools which we need to tweak to do our demand and supply analysis. And as of now, everything that I have covered is available on a free account, right? You don't need to have a paid account for this. Each and every tool which I talked about is available on TradingView, even on a free account. And even on a free account, you get live data feed for NSE, right? So if you're trading NSE, you don't even have to pay a single rupee for the data feed. The data feed is also live on TradingView for NSE. Now coming to the next one, which is some of the paid tools. Now, one tool which is a paid tool is an indicator which I have created. Now, this is called as your, if you again search for Surjit Kakkar, it's called as the demand and supply zone indicator. Now, for this, again, you don't need to upgrade your account on TradingView. All you need to do is you'll have to subscribe for this indicator because this is a subscription-based indicator. And now what this indicator does is, can you see wherever I was marking as supply, now instead of me finding where are the demand areas and supply areas, it starts pinpointing to you that is where you have a supply zone, that is where you have a demand zone, that is where you have a demand zone. If I go further back, that is where you had a supply zone. So can you see now it starts marking the demand areas and supply areas for you by default. And now all you need to do is you need to qualify these areas of demand and supply with your trade plan. If they match with your trade plan, yes, you can use them. Again, this demand and supply zone indicator can be added to a free account provided you subscribe for it, right? So it's not available for free. It's a subscription based indicator. Now, if you want to try it out, a demo version is available. I'll just show you the demo version as well. So if I go to again Surjit Kakkar, you can see we also have the demo version of it. The limitation of the demo version is that it will only work on the daily chart. It will not work on any other time frame. So if I apply the demo version on the hourly chart, it's not going to work, but on the daily chart, it will definitely work. Right. So that's the restriction with the demo version, that one, it only works on the daily time frame. The second restriction is that in the paid version, you can see that we have some customizations available. Let me just show you. So what are those customizations? Let's go to demand supply zone indicator. Let's go to the settings. Right, so can you see what I can do is I can customize how many candles do I want in the basing. So if I say that I only want zones with one candle in the basing, now you will see this will not be marked. Why? Because it has more than one candle. This is getting marked because it only has one candle in the basing. So I can customize that if the indicator is identifying some demand areas or supply areas for me, uh, how many candles do I want in the basing? So the default setting is 3, minimum can be 1, maximum can be 6, right? So I can say, okay, I'm even okay with zones having up to 6 candles in the basing. So now can you see it is also marking a demand area for me where I have 4 candles. Similarly, you can also customize how strong you want your leg outs to be. So the minimum setting is 1. 1 is like good. Now can you see as soon as I gave 1, it is also marking some of these areas where the strength is not really nice, but it is still marking them as areas of supply and demand for me. If I want a better strength, I can give 1.5. If I want best, I can give it as 2. And now you will see that the number of zones would be even less. So yes, you can customize this based on your preference. Default settings are 1.5 and 3. But yes, based on your preferences, this can be customized. On the demo version, you will not be able to customize it, but on the paid version, you can customize this. So that is one thing which is paid. But for this, you don't need to upgrade your account. You just have to subscribe for the indicator. And once you subscribe for it from our website, even on a free account, you can use this indicator. Now, the last thing which I'll say is if some of you are using multiple charts, you can see here on the top, you have this icon and you can have multiple chart layouts, up to 8 charts stacked together. Now, this is a option which is only available for paid subscriptions, right? It is not available for free subscriptions. With free subscription, you can only have 1 chart, but with paid, you can see I can have as many as 8 charts open for me together. Now, these charts can be the same script with different time frames. These charts can be even different scripts, right? Whichever way you want, this can be done. You can sync them based on a number of things. And like I told you, today it's working slow for me. Otherwise, it never takes so long for the charts to load. So now you can see you can have up to 8 charts, but this is only available in paid version. Again, depending upon your level of subscription, they have different subscriptions. They have pro, they have premium. You will have different restrictions. Example, maybe maybe a pro, a person with a pro subscription can only have up to maybe 4 charts. A person with premium can have up to 8 charts. So you'll have to see based on their subscription plans what you're more comfortable with. But yes, again, on a free account, everything which can be used, I just showed you. The only reason where you might want to upgrade is to have multiple charts or maybe to set more number of alerts. Otherwise, a free account is more than sufficient if you want to do your demand and supply analysis on TradingView. So I think I have covered all the tools which we use for the demand and supply analysis. Nothing is left now. We talked about drawing the zones for the curve, for the wiggle room with the 1:1s, 2:1s, 3:1s, even for the position size, what quantity we should be doing. We have covered all the tools. Now let me quickly look into the chart and let's see if something is still missing. I'll quickly add upon it, and we are almost at the end of the hour. So I generally try to keep these sessions under an hour. Let's see what are the questions we have. So Ajay says 5M alerts that we get in Telegram are coinciding zones with 15 and 50 and 16, or we need to analyze from our side. So Ajay, what happens is the alerts which you're getting on the alerts channel, they are not by default, any demand area, any supply area, which is a quality demand zone or a quality supply zone, you'll get an alert for it. If you want to see zones which are coinciding, then what you need to do is, example, a 5-minute zone can only coincide with the 15 minutes. If you have an alert at, let's say, 10:15, because at 10:15, the same alert should be for the 15-minute chart as well as for the 5-minute chart. If you're seeing the same alert on both the time frames, only then it is a coinciding level, right? But if, let's say, you get an alert at 10:05 and then for the same script, you're getting an alert on 10:15, probably they might not be coinciding. So if you're looking for coinciding, let's say for 15 and 5, then every 15 minutes the alert which you're getting for your 15 minutes chart, if the same script is also on the 5-minute chart, it can be a coinciding level. What I've also done is I have created an Excel sheet where you can copy paste these alerts, and it can help you identify where the coinciding levels might be. So that feature is available on the Excel sheet. But yes, when you get the alerts, you get alerts for all the zones, be that coinciding, be that not coinciding. Right, so that's how it is. We need to do the analysis. Yes, so definitely we need to do the analysis. Again, when you are getting the alerts are basically generated for zones which are high quality. As far as the probability factor is concerned, you will have to do the complete analysis. And the alerts are not, again, I'll add, these are not calls and tips. It's just a scanner which is shortlisting stocks for you. So if a scanner is shortlisting stocks for you, can't trade it without doing the analysis. Analysis has to be done. In fact, even if I'm sharing some trades during the live sessions, you can't trade them blindly. The reason is markets are dynamic. So when I'm sharing the trade, by the time prices they come back, a lot of things can change. So it is always it's always a good habit that whenever you're taking the trade, even though you have planned it well in advance, you have to double check it, because conditions can change since markets are always dynamic. How do you know trend of a stock, which time frame? All right, so that's question is, so how do you know the trend of a stock, which time frames? So again, how do you know the trend on the stock, and which time frames do we use? The way we know the trend is by doing the trend analysis, right? But which time frame do we use? We always use the intermediate time frame, right? So we'll be using the intermediate time frame to do the trend analysis. Now, depending upon your purpose of trade, you might have different intermediate time frames for different purposes of trade. Nifty futures is not getting. See, the fact is, on TradingView, we don't have the data feed for futures. So it's not just the Nifty futures. Even if you try to look for the stocks, yes, they do have stocks stocks futures for BSC, but not for the NSE as of now. Can I get recording of this session because I missed due to connectivity? Absolutely, Kirti. The sessions are recorded. So all my YouTube sessions which I do, they are available on my YouTube channel. So if you want to watch it a number of times, you can always come back to my YouTube channel, watch it as many times as you wish to. So please upload this. Yep, it will be there, Shiva, on the YouTube. Don't worry about it. Is there any other way to get direct demand zones and supply zones? See, I just showed you. Probably you asked your question first, and I even before maybe I told you about that tool. So this is the only way you can directly get your demand and supply zones on the chart. But again, just because these demand and supply areas are getting marked does not mean you can trade them blindly, Rupesh. You will have to do the analysis to understand whether they are qualified or not. How to get the futures chart, options and commodities for Indian markets? So like I said, options are not available on TradingView as of now. Same applies to commodities, not available on TradingView. Futures are also not available. Only the NSE is available. You do have futures for BSC, but not for NSE as of now. When should we mark from wick to wick and when to borrow to wick? So again, Moin, it completely depends upon your trade plan. For me, if the zone is narrow enough to be used wick to wick, I always use it wick to wick to increase my probability of getting the fill. In case wick to wick, the zone is getting pretty wide, then I have no choice but to do borrow to wick. So that is how I do it. Is there any demand and supply scanner screener? Absolutely, Rupesh. We have a service which is called as an alert service, which is the only scanner available in the world as of today, which is based on demand and supply analysis. Now, to have more information about it, what you can do is you can go to this URL, which is surjitkakkar.com/alerts, ALERTS, right? So you can go to this URL, surjitkakkar.com/alerts. This is where the complete information is available about this alert service, which tells you what this alert service is all about. Plus, we also have the demo channels. If you want to join the alerts demo channel for NSE alerts, this is where you can do that. This is for MCX, this is for international Forex. Plus, there is also a video available which will explain you what this alert service is all about. Plus, we also have the FAQ. In case you want to register for it, you can click here, you can register for it. Now, at times when you're clicking on this, you might not, you might face some challenges to be added to the Telegram group, because these are our Telegram channels. So make sure you're clicking on this from your phone, not from your PC, and you have Telegram already installed on your phone while you're clicking on this, right? So this is where you have the demo channel links. What the alert service is all about is explained in this video. The FAQs are available here, and you can subscribe if you want to from here, right? So we do have something which is called as alert service, which is the only demand and supply zone scanner, right? So that answers your question. 52-week high stocks, do we have supply zones? So again, if a stock is making 52 weeks high, yes, it can have supply zones, but only if a stock is making all-time highs, it might not have a supply zone, right? Even if it is 52 weeks high, you still might have some supply zones available somewhere in the past. So is there any Diwali offer going on POS course? So Ramakrishna, we generally don't have offers. Our courses are priced very, very competitively, so we generally don't have any offers. And similarly, as of now on Diwali, we don't have any offers. But I'll say probably by default, it's available at a offer price, throughout the year, because like I said, it's very competitive pricing. Very helpful session. So kind of you for sharing the important nuggets of TradingView tools. Otherwise, if we try to explore and learn, would have taken weeks. All right, so thank you so much, Ravi. And like I said, I'll also try to do this in Hindi maybe the next Sunday. All right, so show some light on chart settings, example chart durations. So Vipin, that is what we started with, how you can start with the duration of the charts, whether you want a 5-minute chart or a 15-minute chart. So probably you joined a little late, so you can watch the recording. That will be taken care of. How do you do trend analysis? So we'll not be covering it in today's session. Like I said, we're almost at the end of the hour. Probably I can try to do a session which can be on trend analysis sometime down the line. Can we have saved drawings on Fire's chart? See, now on Fires also, when you are doing the analysis, majority of the tools are the same. Reason because Fires, they have their online platform as TradingView. The only thing which is missing is that you can't have these customized indicator like the boring candle indicator, the explosive move indicator, or the demand and supply zone indicator on their platform. Everything else is exactly the same, so you don't need to worry about it. Please throw some light on latest alert service. So I did a session. I mean, if you go through my YouTube channel, you will see that whatever updates we did with the alert service, all those videos are available. So just go through those videos. They will definitely help you with it. So if we are shorting in futures, I want my stop loss to be carried forward for the few days. Which platform to use except IB? So see, this is something which is, broker based service. So you can check with different brokers which brokers are providing you the kind of features you're looking for, and whichever broker gives you that feature, that is what you can go for. So just check with different brokers. That would be the best way to go about. How much are the charges for the paid indicator? See, again, this indicator is available with different ways. One, if you're only going for the demand and supply zone indicator, then 30-day subscription is 600 plus GST. 2-month subscription, 60-day subscription is 1,000 plus GST. Now, if you are opting for the alert service, with the alert service, you get this indicator complimentary, right? So there are two different ways. If you just want the indicator to be standalone, I just gave you the pricing for it. If you want it along with the alert service, because with the alerts, you get it as complimentary, that is how also you can go for it. And so stock trend down, then we should search for supply zone. So can we, so if just because the trend is down does not mean that we will always be shorting. Yes, people, they generally say, and in fact all the trading books, they teach you trend is your friend, which means if you're in a downtrend, you should always be going short. If you're in an uptrend, you should always be going long. But the correct quotation which I say should be, trend is your friend until the bend in the end. And where are those bend in the end? We can identify them by identifying our areas of demand and supply. So even if I'm in a downtrend, I'm in a demand area, I would not like to go short, because that is where the trend can change. If I'm in an uptrend, I'm in a supply zone, I would not like to take long, because that is where the trend can change. So it doesn't have to always do with the trend. It has to do with the complete picture on the chart. Yes, we can trade with the trend. We can go against the trend. But we'll have to analyze the complete picture to understand when to trade with the trend and when not to trade with the trend. All right, so perfect. To manually mark demand and supply zones, which stocks to pick from Nifty 50? I mean, is there any way to filter it? See, yes, in our courses, we do cover some basic rules which you need to apply when you are identifying some scripts. So yes, if you have done the course, you can just follow that. In fact, I also have some free scanners available on the website at the free section. You can also look into it. But yes, there are some basic rules which are on the pricing of that script, on the liquidity. So if you're just following it, you can just see on Nifty 50 which all scripts they match with that criteria. Those are the ones you can look for. Right. So for lifetime, no. So none of the indicators are or the courses are available for lifetime. Everything is subscription based. So whenever you want to use it, it has to be during. I mean, you can only use it during your subscription period. That is how it is. All right. So that brings us to the end of today's session. All the questions which I had in the chat box have been answered. So I'll see you on next Sunday, and probably I'll try to do the same session in Hindi because I know some people might be more comfortable in Hindi, or I'll see if it is some other topic, right? So we'll look into it. And until then, trade safe, enjoy your Diwali, and again, wishing you all a very, very happy Diwali. I'll see you next Sunday. Till then, take care. Bye bye.